Hey guys, welcome back to American Heritage Homestead. I am Bianca and I'm so glad that you are joining me today. I just wanted to share some of our updates on the homestead and what's been going on here. So something new, actually I just shared, if you follow me on Instagram, then you would have seen my newest reel. My son and I are actually starting a chick business. So this is something that I've wanted to do. And I had shared in that post that, it's kind of hard now to buy chicks. Like everybody loves chicks, right? And so you see them at the store, usually Tractor Supply, and you want to buy them. And so that's what I would always do every time they got me, right? When you see the little chicks there, you're like, who doesn't want to take them home? And so I would do that. But now, things are a little different. And, a lot of the animal industry has been changing. And so a lot of what I used to buy, I can't do anymore, right? Because you just have no idea what you're getting. And so one of the things that I wanted to start doing was to hatch my own chicks, because I know where they're coming from. I know what they're getting fed. I know how they're being treated. I know just everything about them. And so that was a main concern of mine. And so that's something that I wanted to do. And I was like, talking to my husband, because I'm the dreamer, right? I'm always thinking of ideas. He's the one who keeps my feet on the ground, right? And helps me execute those ideas, right? And so one of those was I wanted to start doing like a little chick business, because I know that there's other people like me who are concerned, and chicks are such in demand right now, right? Everybody saw the egg prices and they started buying chickens, and now even the price of chickens is going up, which is so crazy, right? I just looked at meat birds, and if I wanted to do another batch of them, it was already up $1 per bird. So already that it ends up with the feed and everything ends up costing a lot. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, now even those are going up, because everybody wants to know where their food is coming from, wants to raise their own food, which is just amazing to me. I love that we are going back, and you see that trend happening. And I think all the more that we should be, right? When you see the signs and everything around you that, it's wise to raise your own food. Over the last few years was kind of crazy. You saw like factories being burnt down, killing off all these animals with diseases and things like that. Having a minimum at the grocery store, when there were families that I knew that were much bigger, and that was not enough meat for them for their family. And so I just love right now that people are going back to the ways of old and learning to be a little more self-sufficient, but with that, building communities so we can help one another. And so anyway, I had met some people, last week, and I was taking them around my property and talking to them and just sharing all the things, just my heart, my desire, my dreams and things like that. And then I showed them my chicken coop that my husband built me. And I told you guys that I had him build a brooder in there, so I could use that for chicks and how I wanted to raise chicks. But I'll eventually get there. I have all these dreams. I'm like, my husband, is like, let's go through them slowly, which is wise. Anyway, he was like, I have a brooder for you. You can have it. I was like, what? Like literally, I had been looking up brooders, right? They're a couple $100 or a little less than that. I'm like, but we have so many other things we need on our homestead right now that just buying that wouldn't make sense just yet. And so, I mean, if I was like rolling in dough, sure, but we're not, right? We're a one income family, even though I did start working a little bit, which is cool. But anyway, I just could not believe this is a man in our community that just sees my desire and was just like, here, this is for you. And I could not believe it. So yesterday I actually got to pick it up, which was pretty cool. And so to me, that was God answering a prayer, because I literally prayed, God, because I really felt like God was putting this desire on my heart, right? He's given me a heart and desire to go back to these things and to help teach other people these things, because I believe he's really preparing us for the days ahead and setting up little communities all around to help one another. And so when I had prayed, if you want me to do this, I know you'll make a way. He literally did. In less than a week, provided a person to supply the need. And so like, that's another thing. We don't have to get into fear or anything else like that. And that's what I just love about God, is that he just provides exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or ever imagine. And so this will be the start to our new chick journey here, and also fertilized eggs. That's another thing that people are looking for. And then you can hatch your own if that's something that you wanted to do as a family as well. I remember the first time we hatched eggs 10 years ago, I was so excited because I kept going into Tractor Supply and buying chicks, and then I was given an incubator back then So that's 10 years ago. And I remember taking my own eggs. I read all the books, I was studying everything about chickens, and then I took my own eggs, put them in the incubator, and it was like a more old-fashioned one. So I was turning those with my hand each day. We were all guessing which one would hatch first. Like, it was a family affair, but really me. And I was like writing all my notes. I could go back and find those notes somewhere, which is just so cool. And I literally, like, God allowed me to be home to literally hear their little peeps before they even cracked through. I was watching them and got to see them all break open out of their shells, and that was so cool. I remember raising chicks from your own hand, and that's what we did, taking care of them in the house, bringing them out onto fresh grass, and then being able to hold them. Hatching eggs was such a cool experience to do, and it's just something I loved. And then eventually we had sold that and moved back to a property without much land, and so I didn't really do that then, right? But now that I'm able, I want to. And my son, right, everybody has different skills and gifts, and you could just see it's just a natural talent, a natural gift for him to take care of chickens. And he literally has that shepherd's heart, so they are constantly like, they trust him, they are so at peace with him, and it's just amazing. And so he's been looking for ways to make money and things like that, and so I figured, why not go in with him on this little business, because we both have a little egg selling business right now. And so we work together. So he had got 5 chicks of his own, raised those, took care of him. He really helps take care of all of the chickens, and so I think it's only fair that he would get paid for those eggs, right? He takes care of them and wanted to start this egg laying business, or, you know, egg business. And so he named his little business America's Best Chickens, which I absolutely love. And so I pay him and share with him what we get. And he also invests in feed as well. And so he learns what it is and how to make money, and, you know, the cost and everything else. So that's pretty cool. So we got some math for homeschooling there as well. And so here we go again, is we're going to do chicks, because he is so helpful. He's honestly a very good worker, takes care of the chickens well, he loves them, and because he's passionate about it, he puts his heart into it. But if we're doing you know, writing work, that's a different story, right? So this is an area that he thrives, and so I'm excited for that. So if you are local or able to get either chicks from us, eggs from us, fertilized eggs, whatever, we have them available. Support your local homesteader. But anyway, so cool. And I've also been working at that job that I shared with you guys. And even that, like, you know, community to me has been so important. And I just see what a blessing it is. And I am learning so much from these people, even in just the few days that I have been there and worked there. It is hard work for sure. But I'm thankful for it. I literally sit there and thank God that I'm doing this. I thank God that I'm, you know, working with my hands, strengthening my body out in the sun. You know, my daughter's like hiding from the sun, and I will purposely like work where the sun is hitting my face, because I love that. And if I don't have a beach here, then you know, that's what I'll do. But just little things here and there that, you know, the wisdom that people pass down, and that's why I love talking to so many different people. And so that I'm grateful for. They have been such a blessing for us. We've been meeting people, you know, neighbors and things like that, and we just learn from one another. And I am like, this is everything that I've prayed for. Everything, like all those desires that are in your heart are not there for no reason. God placed them there, and at the perfect time he will bring them to fruition. Because I waited, I prayed, I am almost like, is that dream or these desires ever going to come to life? And look at this. It took a few years, but it's worth it. You know, his timing is always perfect, and I'm so glad, because we needed that last season to mature, to grow, to be together as a family, you know, heal as a family, be strengthened as a family, get one vision that we saw for our family. And like everything, you know, the steps of the righteous are ordered of the Lord, and I have just seen him put everything into place. It has just been amazing. And then you just have such peace and joy in your heart when you are inside of God's will, you know. It's just such a blessing. And so, you know, we've been working on our garden together and different things like that. We planted some potato. We're learning too. You know, we are not like green thumbers and like we know what we're talking about, because we don't. We are learning, so you can learn alongside us if you would like. And so, you know, even our potatoes, like where we had planted them, like I know the ground is not as good, right? Okay, did some spacing. Potatoes have a sprout on each one, and they're about a foot apart each. You really need some good soil. You need some oh my gosh, what is it called? Compost and things like that, which we're still building up, right? We're still in the building process. But you know what? We're just doing what we can and working with what we have right now, and whatever happens, happens. And we pray over our beds in that harvest. And we worked hard yesterday, even after my hours of work in the sun and doing everything. I came back here and I was like, I had the bug in me, or what. I'm like, I want to get to planting even more. So we had already transplanted things, but I took out my seed book and I just, wherever there was open space, I started squeezing in as much as I could. And I did some radishes and Swiss chard and lettuce and green beans, zucchini, all different stuff, because I'm just like, let's see what grows good, let's see what doesn't. I just want a beautiful harvest. Okay, so my phone was overheating. I didn't even realize that the direct sunlight was hitting it. So I came to the backyard, and it's good because I have my, oh, can you see this? She's probably gonna attack. Oh, she's being a good girl. I have the chicks out here, and I had them in the cage before, but I opened it up since I'm over here because these big ones like to beat them up. But anyway, so I don't even know what I was saying. I do know that I was thinking of communities, right? And, becoming, okay, so since I lost my train of thought, one thing that I did want to add in and share is, I know I talk a lot about community now, but that's what I wanted to say, is that we all can't do everything, right? And I mean, there's a lot that we can do, but for our own communities is what we should think about. What can you do right now to help your community, or share in your community, or teach your community, use your gifts and talents, right? And that's why I've been so thankful that I have been able to go look at different places where I can learn, or the things that I'm interested in. And that has been such a blessing for our family. And just like, because I just love it. I love gleaning from people. I love hearing people and their ways of doing things, and the wisdom that they have that they can pass down. And all of us have something inside of us, right, that we can share with other people. So whatever that is, it doesn't have to be this huge mega influence, but it could be in just the here and now, in your small little sphere. And you can pray and say, what can I do? Or what do I want to learn? Or what? And look for those kinds of things in your area. Homesteading was in my heart, so that's something that I wanted to learn years ago. So I just started doing it, and I just started jumping in and doing craziness. We've learned to temper ourselves a little bit, so now it's like I like to slowly go through and make a list of what I can learn and what I want. You leave them alone. And what I want to share with others. And so the little things that I have learned is what I'm trying to share with you guys, right? The joy of chicken keeping, raising your own chickens, being able to collect your own eggs, raising your own meat. That's kind of all that we're really on right now. And the simple things like canning and things like that. I don't even do much canning because I don't have space for it. I know how to. I learned how to. It's good to just learn the skills and know what to do if there was not food, or you weren't able to go to the grocery store, or you needed to preserve your harvest and different things like that. Drying out, dehydrating, like different herbs and teas while they're blooming. Just simple things that you can do. Learning to cook from scratch. And I am not the best cook, so I will be honest, that is not my strong suit. I thank God that my daughter is more gifted in that way, so she does help out a lot in that area. Making your own bread and seeing the ingredients at the store and how many things are in different ingredients. So I want to learn how to make wraps and bread and buns and things like that, but I just haven't gotten there yet, because like once spring hits, it gets so busy. Like we have so much to do, and it's hard to leave the house, right? There's events and things that we're invited to, and oftentimes we have to, like my husband will just go, or me and the kids will just go, because we both can't leave the house. It's too hard. And we don't really have people, at least yet, to help take care of all these things. You have to water all the gardens, and feeding the chicks, feeding the chickens. We have 2 different coops right now. We're still trying to integrate the other ones. We still have 2 coops right now. And my husband is like, so we actually have 4 different chicken age groups that need to be fed. So I have my 2 coops, the brand new coop that my husband built, the coop in the front. We still need food and water. We have these little chicks here that we need to feed and water. We have the meat birds. We need to feed and water and move their coop each day, sometimes 2 times a day. And so it's kind of hard to find some help, or a family member that's willing to do all of that. And I get it. It's a lot of work. And so, but honestly, this is the sacrifice that we make in order to live like this and do this is that you're not able to do as much. But you know what? This is kind of how people used to live the simple life. And like when they were visiting each other, that was like a long journey and time, like every, once a year or so. And so, think Little House on the Prairie. And not that I know I don't live in that land and I'm not trying to be delusional or things like that, but I do want to go back to simplicity and have us home to take care of our families. Like, guys, this is like the best feeling. And I'm not even like, I don't want you to think I'm sitting here saying, haha, if you're not, but it's like, I can't explain the peace. I'm sitting here hearing the rustling of the trees, like these little chicks eating, like watching nature. So often we're glued to our phones and things like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, we miss so much of life. And it's not even like I have so much here, but like those little things, like those simple things, being out in sunshine, working with your hands, seeing animals, seeing creation. Like, I just can't explain the peace and beauty. So if that is something that has been on your mind or your heart, I would encourage you to pursue it, right? Nothing is out of God's reach. Nothing is impossible with God. He can move any mountain. Man, he did it for us. And I will tell you too, you do not need a ton of land to get started. Like half an acre is all you need. Honestly, like what we're using right now is probably half an acre, right? For our garden, for our chickens and things like that. So you don't need a lot, and you can start doing things right now, like start saving, start budgeting, start having my husband and I do business meetings to talk about different things and ways to make money or ways to save money, ways to cut. And we do that. We don't need all the TV services. We don't need 100 cars. We don't need 100 vacations. Start cutting those things out and saving, and write down your dream, right? And start saying, okay, this is what I want. And like, believe it, that you can do it, right? If God put that desire in your heart, he will make a way to do it. And so I would encourage you, start, and if you're not able to move or anything or buy land right now, start learning the skills, start doing the things to prepare you for your next season. Use that waiting time. I always used to ask God, like, what are you teaching me in the waiting, right? There's many lessons in the waiting that we can learn. And he grew me so much in that waiting. And so if you are in that season, hold on and believe, right? Because God is going to make a way. If he gives you a promise, he will bring it to fruition. And if it's a desire that's on your heart, you can just pray and say, God, help me align my steps, right? To do these things that you've put in my heart. And I assure you, he will make a way.